Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel. What do video games and the symphony have in common? A woman struck by lightning gives her testimony of how God saved her. And hats off to St. Mary's baseball team. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. Thanks for joining us today. New government data released this week, which made headlines across the nation, shows the coast-to-coast opioid epidemic is flooding hospitals. The 2014 numbers released by the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality puts Massachusetts in the top 10 states with the highest rate of opioid-related hospital admissions. Locally, several groups are working to help to educate and ultimately prevent young people from falling into the path of drug addiction. Julie Bollier has more.
Megan is a heroin addict in recovery. At age 13, she started drinking and using drugs.
It was alcohol and cocaine. I started because I wasn't happy. There were things in my personal life with my family that made me just not feel loved and not know, who I was as a person. I felt really alone. So I clung to whoever liked me, and it just happened to be the wrong crowd of people that had similar problems as I did, and we partied, and alcohol and cocaine made me happy.
In Megan's case, her drug use spiraled out of control until an overpowering heroin addiction landed her in jail.
I would tell a 13-year-old, if they were struggling the way that I was, I would definitely first and foremost tell them that they're not alone, that they have people who love them for who they are, that there are so many supports and outlets that they can use to get the help that they need.
Studies such as the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, reported by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, indicate that some young teens are already abusing drugs at age 12 or 13. Early abuse often includes tobacco, alcohol, inhalants, marijuana, and prescription drugs. If drug abuse persists into later adolescence, abusers typically become more heavily involved and advance to other drugs. Sacred Heart Parish in Feeding Hills continues to take a proactive approach. The parish nurses, who are part of Mercy Medical Center's faith-based nursing program, held its second substance abuse seminar this spring. Lieutenant Frank Matuzek of the Agawam Fire Department brought home a harsh reality.
Some of the hardest calls that we see are calls that involve kids, and usually they're younger teenagers that just got involved in it. And unfortunately, the parents usually find them the next morning.
The first thing you can do to keep your home safe is to get rid of any unused prescription drugs. Call your local police department's non-emergency number to find out where the nearest drop box is, and make sure any needles are placed in a safe container. If you come across a needle outdoors or on the street, do not pick it up. Call 911 and ask for instructions. Drugs can be purchased online. Demos on how to use drugs, grow drugs, and chemically make drugs are also available on the internet. Educators and parents of Pope Francis High School recently attended a seminar entitled Drugs from Streets to School.
These are things you might see in a backpack, in a bedroom, and the fact that you can hide things in something that's just, as he says, hidden in plain sight, we should be aware of that and know what to look for.
Presenter Eric Stratton is also an area emergency medical technician, sharing info with parents on drug lingo, use, and how they're bought. as well as disturbing videos posted online by teens and young adults making and doing drugs.
So over the years, I've collected information, collected paraphernalia, so that I could teach others from law enforcement, EMS, now the public, what heroin, what drug paraphernalia looks like. So that's like the strong teaching point from my class. I still work the field, so I do these overdoses and I see the effects of drugs on people, and I'm just trying to share the information with others.
Stratton's advice to parents: notice any changes in your child's behavior or routine. Look for empty bottles or drug paraphernalia in your child's room or around the house. Also look and keep track of any prescription drugs and notice if any are missing. Then look for things hidden in plain sight, such as water bottles or soda cans with secret compartments. Finally, talk to your child. There are several resources available to help. I'm Julie Bollier for Reel to Reel.
Certainly, substance abuse of any kind should not be taken lightly, and we have several links providing help with resources on our website at iobserve.org. Now on to a lighter topic, video games and the symphony. Well, they really don't sound like they go together, but a Springfield native and world-renowned video game composer has been changing that mindset for more than a decade. Tommy Tallarico performed his Video Games live show with the Springfield Symphony and Chorus on a recent weekend, introducing young people to symphonic music and inspiring them to follow their dreams no matter what people say. Carolee McGrath has our story.
It's something you don't expect at a symphony. Video games, laser lights, pyrotechnics, but the crowd ate it up as Springfield's own Tommy Tallarico came home and brought down the house. Tallarico is one of the most successful video game composers. He helped change the industry, writing music for video games for the last 27 years. The Cathedral grad brought his widely acclaimed show, Video Games Live, an audio and video concert celebrating video games and symphonic music, to Springfield Symphony Hall, a dream come true for him.
As a lot of you may know, I was born and raised 16 acres, Springfield, Massachusetts. First 21 years of my life.
The show featured music from the most popular video games performed by the Springfield Symphony Orchestra and Chorus. The seats were filled with young people, many of whom had never been to the symphony before, and they were captivated by the lights, the music, and the video presentation.
Over the last 13 years of touring the show, playing in front of millions of people all over the world, putting out our albums, our PBS special, we are introducing young people to a symphony. And as you saw at the show on Saturday night, we had a couple of thousand young people in there screaming and yelling and cheering and clapping for the Springfield Symphony and for video game and for symphonic music. When has that ever happened in the history of music?
Tallarico took the time to talk to students at Pope Francis while he was in town, and he's come a long way since running cross country and occasionally getting kicked out of class. He graduated from Cathedral in 1986.
And she threw me out of the class, by the way, just to let you know. Got in trouble. Yeah, thank you. And wait, hold on. Yeah, she's raising her hand. Yes, I threw you out of my class too, don't you? And so, yeah, I get tossed out of class every once in a while. So, the story is that you too can drive a Ferrari if you get thrown out of their classes. No, no.
And even though he joked about the good old days, he got very serious about his message, telling the students how he left Springfield for LA when he was 21 with 3 t-shirts, no job, and no place to live. He says he slept under a pier on the beach, but never lost focus. And in the end, he proved his critics wrong.
Everybody thought I was crazy. You know, they said, look, people who go to a symphony don't play video games. And people who play video games, they don't go to symphonies. So, like, no one's going to show up to your stupid thing.
I thought it was really cool. I liked his story of coming from nothing and then being as successful as he is. I also liked how he still wanted to come back home and talk to everyone from his hometown, because usually people who get successful, they forget about their roots, and he didn't.
One of the main points that Tommy drove home with the kids is never to give up on your dream. Be passionate, go for it. He says the most successful people are the ones who work the hardest. He also says his Catholic upbringing guided him throughout his whole career.
I went to Catholic schools my entire life. I started at Our Lady of the Sacred Heart from kindergarten to 8th grade, then to Cathedral High School. I went to St. Catherine's of Siena Church in 16 acres. And the values that I was taught in Catholic schools still stay with me to this day.
His former teacher, Leslie Perrault, teaches history at Pope Francis. He totally called you out. You kicked him out of class.
Just once, just once.
So is it exciting to have him back here?
I think it's phenomenal that he was able to come back in after all these years and present to the kids. And obviously you could tell from all of the questions, they're very interested in video gaming and hearing what games he worked on. They know his work before they see him in person. So he's done tremendously well, and he's just an awesome inspiration to the kids.
It really taught me a few things about not just video games but life. Yeah. Showing how hard work can actually play out.
Hopefully there was somebody here today that was inspired enough to follow their dream and follow their passions.
Tallarico has performed more than 450 shows in 42 countries and can't wait to come home again. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Caroline McGrath.
Looks like the show was a lot of fun. For more information on Tallarico and his concert series, we have a link at iobserve.org. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Mark Giza and some early summer movie picks. And the proverbial story of the little engine that could. Steve Kiltonick and the uplifting story of the St. Mary High School baseball team and their first ever state baseball title. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passion's Brother Terrence Galen, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us Sunday morning at 10. We welcome newly ordained Father Baron Pease from St. Thomas the Apostle Parish in West Springfield as our Mass presider. Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on WWLP 22 News.
It's summer, so that means big movies, great pieces of theater, wonderful things to do with family and friends. And that's why I'm here to help you. Welcome to this week's Real Culture. 47 meters down. Okay, it's summer, so that means films filled with water, beaches, and sand. Okay, and sharks. The plot follows two sisters, Mandy Moore and Claire Holt, as they take a vacation, one that they will never forget. Most of the film finds them in a cage, completely losing it, as sharks try to take it over. Okay, I know you're thinking, why would Mark suggest a film like this? The reason? Mindless fun. And go with an open mind and let it all go.
What was that? Oh my God, what's going on? Where's it again?
Cars 3. Fun, fun, fun. That's the best way to describe the latest animated treat from Pixar. Owen Wilson is Lightning McQueen, a car that is slowing down. So to put a little fire in his tank, he hires a fast young car named Cruz to train him and make him the champ he once was. The reason this film is such a treat is the special effects that only Pixar can dish out. Watch the bright colors and the timing of each car. Yes, this type of film may be getting old, but to tell you the truth, it's so much fun watching this film, we forget we've seen it all before. But who cares? Take the little ones and go.
Hey, Jackson Storm, right? Great race today.
Wow, thank you, Mr. McQueen. You have no idea what a pleasure it is for me to finally beat you.
Oh, thanks.
The Book of Henry. Here is a film I'm not so sure about. The acting is great, but the storyline is just a bit soapy. Henry is an 11-year-old who is off the charts smart. Every day he helps his mom and his little brother get through their lives. One day he meets a girl who needs his help, so the whole family jumps in to help. This is where the movie gets just a little over the top. Naomi Watts, as the mom, becomes a vigilante, and the movie goes downhill from there. If you're looking for a film with fine actors, but a script that seems unreal, here it is, folks.
You okay?
I'm good. Mom, I have to tell you something, and it's very important.
Christine is in trouble.
When someone hurts someone else, we have to make it better.
There's only one way to stop it.
And you can see my reviews, as well as read other movie reviews provided by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops online at iobserve.org. That's iobserve.org. Check out the Majestic Theater in West Springfield. They have a terrific season planned. Also, the Berkshire Theater Festival in Stockbridge, Massachusetts has terrific plays, including Arsenic and Old Lace, opening up in July. And don't forget the New Century Theater in Northampton, as they present the funny play, The Foreigner. All there waiting for you. I'm Mark Giza for Real Culture. Have a fantastic weekend.
Next, we have an amazing story of conversion. Dr. Gloria Polo, a dentist from Bogota, Colombia, was struck by lightning in the 1990s. The first miracle is her survival, and the second, many would agree, is her journey back to faith in her near-death experience. Carolee McGrath returns now with the story of a former atheist who is now telling anyone who will listen about God's love and mercy.
Dr. Gloria Polo, a dentist from Colombia, understands the power of prayer. But in the 1990s, as her career was taking off, God wasn't on her radar. She thought religion was a joke and heaven a fairy tale. That all changed May 5th, 1995.
Llovía muchísimo.
And it was raining so much.
De camino a la facultad.
On our way to the dental department,
nos cayó un rayo.
We were struck by lightning.
Dr. Polo, married with 2 children, shared her story after Mass at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish in Northampton on a recent Saturday. The translation was provided by Katie Langoni. She released her testimony in a book, Struck by Lightning, Death, Judgment, and Conversion, published by Pilgrims of St. Michael. She told the congregation how her nephew, who was also struck by lightning, died instantly. Dr. Polo, who still walks with a limp, suffered severe burns and trauma. As doctors worked to save her, she says God showed her heaven and hell are no fairy tales.
El Señor me muestra
And the Lord showed me
el que me amaba y me buscaba tanto.
how much He had loved me and sought me.
No obstante mi soberbia,
And my pride was so great.
siempre envió sacerdotes por mí, religiosas.
But he had still sent me priests, religious.
Pero yo me creía mejor que ellos.
But I thought I was better than them.
Dr. Polo, who considered herself an atheist, says God also allowed her to see purgatory. And she says suddenly all of the things she had been pursuing, beauty and wealth, didn't matter anymore. Her survival shocked the doctors.
And they were able to take me off life support.
Los médicos no tenían ninguna explicación.
The doctors had no explanation.
For the last 20 years, she's been sharing her story all around the world with the approval of her diocese in Bogota, Colombia.
The Lord has given her the mission of giving this message 1,000 times 1,000.
Eves Jakes, the assistant editor of the Michael Journal, a bi-monthly Catholic magazine, helped organize the event.
Dr. Gloria Polo talks about intercessory prayer. The reason why she's here giving this testimony is because there's people in Colombia that heard her accident and they got on their knees and prayed for her, and especially a peasant.
During her talk, Dr. Polo really focused on the sin of abortion. She says she used to be pro-choice and would encourage friends or acquaintances to have an abortion. She says her near-death experience changed that. She expressed sorrow over her own abortion at 16.
Ese vacío que queda ya tan profundo.
There's emptiness that stays there so profound.
Solo las mujeres que han abortado saben de qué yo estoy hablando.
Only those women who themselves have had abortions know what I'm talking about.
She says while she's spent years mocking the Catholic Church, she will spend the rest of her life telling people that Jesus is the only way, truth, and life.
Happiness is not in vices nor in promiscuity,
ni el pecado.
Nor is it in sin.
La felicidad está colgado en un madero de la cruz.
Happiness is nailed to a cross.
Cristo te ama.
Christ loves you.
And it's a message she'll never get tired of sharing. Reporting for Reel to Reel in Northampton, I'm Carolee McGrath.
If you would like a copy of Dr. Polo's book, we have a link at iobserve.org. St. Mary's High School is a small Catholic school in Westfield, but when it came time this spring for the Western Mass and State Baseball Tournament, the Saints did the unthinkable against teams with a much larger student enrollment. This close-knit squad defied the odds and skeptics all season long, and in the end, achieved something no other baseball team from the school was able to accomplish. Steve Kiltonick has the story now of an incredible team and its dream season.
St. Mary High School has always had a strong baseball tradition, going back to 1923 when the sport was first introduced by Father Florence Donahue. Over the years, the Saints have won many league titles with outstanding players. Their accomplishments are documented on the banners of the wall of the school gym. The 1978, 79, and 2009 teams were three of the best. Each won a Western Mass title. Although they competed in the state tournament, no St. Mary team over those 94 years has ever won a state title. But when the 2017 season began, there was an optimism among the players and coaches that maybe this year might be different. The 2017 squad included a mix of veteran seniors and juniors, along with a talented group of freshmen. Matt Collins is the dad of senior first baseman Drew Collins. He coached many of these boys in Westfield's Little League. They've played together a long time, from T-ball to Summer League to Babe Ruth.
You can have a team that has all the talent in the world, but if they don't have that team chemistry, they find it hard to win. This team had the chemistry. You know, it's a band of brothers.
These Saints are a family affair. Matt's brother Troy is the head coach. There are also two sets of brothers, shortstop Matt Mascardelli and Jack, a freshman outfielder, the Boninis, junior pitcher Nate and 8th grader Luke, and there's assistant coach Bill Lamoran's son Jack, a freshman.
Once they came together here at St. Mary's High School, it just rekindled and it established this determination that together as friends, combined with their faith and family, that they were unstoppable.
The Saints had a great 1-2 punch in Bonini and senior pitcher John Daly. Defense has been a strength all season, and the hitting, though not overpowering, was clutch. Many of the starters are three-sport athletes out of necessity, with only 50 boys in the school. Back in April, the team started strong, winning its first 8 games. With a record of 18-2, heading into the Western Mass Division IV tournament, they were seeded second, confident but not cocky. In the sectionals, the Saints shut out Pathfinder, then trounced Hopkins. At UMass, in the Western Mass final against Granby, the Saints won a close 3-2 battle. Next, there was the state semifinal against undefeated Tohoto in Worcester. St. Mary's blanked the Stags 4-0 behind Bonini's strong pitching.
And the kids, like 4 of them said, hey guys, we didn't win anything yet. We still have something we need to do.
The unfinished business was winning the state final against Eastern champ Archbishop Williams at Holy Cross's Fitton Field. In the Bishops, St. Mary faced a team with 5 times its boys' enrollment. A large contingent from Westfield came prepared to cheer on their beloved Saints. As the Saints lined up for the playing of the national anthem, they were a loose bunch.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and the hour of our death.
St. Joseph the Worker!
Pray for us!
St. John 3! 1, 2, 3, 6!
Senior Daly got the start in the biggest game of his high school career. Matt Mascardelli was the spark plug, igniting the offense, singling sharply to left in the first inning, and later coming around to score in the Saints' first run on a wild pitch. The Archbishop pitcher and team was rattled by the aggressive Saints running. For the game, Matt was 3 for 3 with a double, 3 runs scored, an RBI, and a stolen base. Through the first 5 innings, Daly was cruising, scattering 4 hits with no walks. Junior Jake Butler did the rest of the damage, getting 3 hits and 3 RBIs as the Saints took a 5-0 lead into the bottom of the 6th. But the Bishops did not go down without a fight and narrowed the gap to 5-3. With 2 outs, a runner on third, and tying run at the plate, Bonini caught the batter looking. In the 7th, Bonini set down the Bishops in order, as the Saints players and coaches stormed the field, jumping on each other in one joyous celebration. They had accomplished their mission, a 23-2 record with its first ever state title.
I went in here thinking it was like game 1 of the season. I didn't really care how important this game was, and I just came here and did my job. We feel like brothers, and it seems like because we've known each other for so long, it's a brotherhood, and we really put on a show for people.
I almost always hit better when he's pitching, because there's something about him. He tells me to get a hit, and I go up there and get a hit for him. It's just the job I do for him.
You got to go into the game relaxed. If we were tense, we were not going to win that baseball game, but we were all focused and relaxed going into the game. It's incredible. Coming from the school we are, it's just incredible.
You couldn't write a better script. It's mind-boggling. It really is. We're just very, very happy for the kids. They deserve this more than you would ever know.
You don't play the game on paper. You don't look at the size of the other team. You just go out there in between the lines. You play it correctly. You know, any team can beat anybody in baseball. And it's, you know, if you keep working at your craft, you perfect it. And that's what these guys did. They never, ever got too high or too low. And they just went on and did their business. It was great.
Collins said he recently lost a close friend, Kevin Halloran, the Bear.
And I'm convinced that the Bear watched over us through this whole thing, St. Mary's guy that he is, and when we needed a little bump, he was able to get it for us.
After the game, all the players, coaches, parents, and fans gathered in right field, not wanting to leave, savoring the historic moment a little bit longer. Late that night, as the team bus exited the turnpike, it was met by the Westfield police, who escorted it downtown and back to St. Mary's. The school's trophy case now has some new hardware to showcase. Coach Collins put the whole season in perspective.
This one's for all the St. Mary's guys that have come before us, that nobody believed we could do it. We're just little old St. Mary's. Well, we're state champs today.
These 2017 Saints will forever remember Fitton Field as their field of dreams on which they achieved an impossible dream season. For Reel to Reel, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Well, Steve says the team is losing 6 seniors this year, but a strong nucleus of juniors and freshmen will return as St. Mary's Saints aim to defend their Western Mass and state title next year. Congratulations to the newly crowned Division IV state champs. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. For updates anytime, you can find information and news on the Catholic Church both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world on our news and information site, iobserve.org. And also be sure to friend us on Facebook, where you will be able to travel with our reporters as they work on stories for Reel to Reel and get the latest news on the Catholic Church. Like us at Catholic Communications. Also, if you have not done so already, please consider making your donation to the annual Catholic Appeal. This one fund drive helps to support more than 40 ministries and agencies right here in Western Massachusetts, so please consider making your gift today. I will be back at the same time next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.